to be judicious in my amiibo purchasing and only get the ones that I really want. Dragon Quest guy, Joker, and you know that Sephiroth was one that I had to get. On another note, I don't think I've said Happy New Year yet. Happy New Year, hope you're having a good one. We have filmed our first episode of the year. It was very cold, it was very fun. We actually got to use the drone this time. Those drone shots. Woo! First on the docket today though, we have a bevy of microphones that I need to test. I've already tested the Sennheiser. We are currently using the ECM B1M. Now it is time to try the ECM B10. And we will see which of these microphones is feasible. This was a used one. Oh, cool. Cool. Okay, we are now using, what? Okay, test 1, 2, what? Okay, I guess we are now using the ECM B10 microphone. It is set to auto. It looks like it's really loud right now. Is it supposed to be that loud? This ECM B1M, so small. This shock mount, probably not adequate. ECM B10, shock mount, probably not adequate. Okay, we're walking around. We're gonna see, is this shock mount adequate? It is not. I can tell. It's not adequate. I can feel it shaking in my hand. Other than that though, how does it sound? All right, so these two Sony microphones are very similar. They're about $100 difference in price. This one is just supposed to be a little bit more beamforming so that it isolates the noise in the direction that you want it to more. Don't know if that's true or not. We learned one thing very quickly. I do not like the auto levels. It makes everything way too loud. So we're gonna change that to manual and we're gonna dial this in so that it sounds better. As we talked about before, this microphone allows you to talk behind the microphone. Normally it would sound like this, and then you switch it to this pickup pattern where it can pick up everything around that microphone. And if I'm in front of the microphone, this is on the same 360-degree pickup pattern. How does this sound? We're gonna switch it to the front pickup pattern. We've now switched it to the front one. How does this sound? Man, this one is even smaller than the other one. Still too tall though. Still too tall. Yeah, these Sony microphones are very nice. If you were using a tripod, I could see that this would be a great microphone. But the 360-degree pickup pattern is negated by this shock mount where you can hear the mic rattling around. The Sennheiser mic is my front runner right now. The only real issue I have is with these AAA batteries. Not that AAA is such a big deal, but that you can't recharge this battery directly from the microphone. Well, that's enough microphone talk for now. I'm going to experiment with all of these and see how I like them. Speaking of technology, Sony just announced a 20-70mm f4 lens. Let me explain to you why, even if you're not interested in cameras, this is such a big deal to me. This lens is a 28-70mm, which means that the biggest field of view you can get is 28mm. This is 28mm. If I reach out, my middle finger can just touch the camera. We can zoom out to this angle and zoom in to this angle. Zoom in, zoom out. Very self-explanatory. 28mm is kind of zoomed in, and it is very limiting. 20mm looks like this. All of the settings on the camera are exactly the same. I'm standing the exact same distance from the camera, but look how much more you can see. But with this lens, I will be able to have this big wide field of view, but also zoom way in to 70mm on the same lens. And for the biggest cherry on top, this new lens will be roughly the same size and weight as this tiny little guy. This is a lens that has not existed before. They've made other ones like a 20-40 and a 20-60, but those were for other cameras, and 20-70 is so useful. Oh my God, that is so useful. The main thing is though, we need a lens that can kind of do everything, because switching lenses out in the field, it is way more of a hassle than doing it indoors where you have a nice place to set the lens. If you have one main lens that can do a bunch of different things, then you can just save the times when you're switching to a super wide angle or a super telephoto for those times when you really need it. I was watching some reviews and people seem to be kind of sleeping on it. They're like, oh, this is not exactly that useful for me. I'm like, I don't know what type of stuff you're filming, but that is incredibly useful for everything I film. And if you know anything about cameras, you might be asking yourself, well, what about f4? Isn't f4 kind of limiting? We're at f4 right now. Is f4 a problem for anybody? Come on, son. All right, we're back in this room once again. Last time I set up these two beds. The room looks very nice now, but we actually need this room for something very particular that I don't think is something my mom would ever do on her own, but I know she could benefit from it so much that I'm gonna do it for her. First up, let's get this bed on top of this bed. My mother has a laptop that is way too small for her. So this way, she can plug up her laptop and use a 21.5 inch screen instead of like a 13-inch screen. She had previously been switching back and forth between having the monitor here, unplugging all this stuff, plugging this in, going here. There's nothing quite like having a dedicated setup for your workstation. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to have to be setting it up every time you want to use it. There is still the matter of getting a keyboard and mouse, but one step at a time. Free music recommendation time. The Lydian Collective is my favorite musical group. It is a jazz fusion group out of the UK. They released a free album of them performing with an orchestra. 9 of the most amazing tracks of music I've ever heard in my life, for free. If you're into the sound of an orchestra, you know what it's like? It's like on The Simpsons when they had that music festival episode and there was an orchestra playing Cypress Hill's music.
This I like.
And I was like, I love that. That sounds better than the original music. Like, that is my ideal sound of music. So over here, you will see 4 HDMI cables. I've decided that that pizza party is finally going to happen, and I needed longer HDMI cables. Went on Amazon. Randomly, these were on sale for $4. 25 feet for $4 a piece. 15 feet for like $2.50. I don't know why I just happened to be on Amazon at the exact right time. But let me show you what I'm gonna use these for. My plan is to put the ATEM Mini over here, and then I could put a camera way over here in the living room, and another camera set up way over here in the kitchen. Of course, none of this is actually necessary. This is just fun stuff to do, and I'm always feeling like I need longer HDMI cables. 6 feet, 8 feet is just not quite enough. A couple of 15 footers and a couple of 25 footers. Okay, now I have thought of another solution to a problem that my mom is having at the studio. Basically, she needs a good microphone to capture the room's audio. And I bought this Zoom H1N a while back to try and use for ambient audio, doing like nature walk videos. And I realized I have neither the time nor the inclination to actually do those, so I never ended up using this. And I can use this for her setup, so I want to go set that up right now. This is also a good chance to test out the ECM B10, see how the handling noise is. We are on the 20 millimeter. Let's go hop on over there, give it a whirl. I love fixing problems like these. I hate fixing problems where the solution is very vague and you don't know what you're doing. And if you get it wrong, you get punished for it. Probably clean these up a bit real quick. Let's do that. HDMI over here. Okay, very good. Okay, I think they're good to go. I wasn't able to do extensive testing because there were people in there and I couldn't turn the volume that loud. But hopefully that works decently. We shall see. My
My brother has this philosophy that you should value your time with a specific amount of money. I don't know how much I value my own time, but I already know that my dad has spent way too long at the Apple Store and at Best Buy and at You Break It, I Fix It to try and get this battery replaced on this 10-year-old iPad. When I found out how much time he has been spending on it, I was like, Dad, give it to me. This is beneath you. You should not waste any more time on this. I will waste my time on it. And I have some experience breaking open Apple devices and replacing stuff inside of them. So I'm just gonna bite the bullet, spend the $30 for a battery replacement on Amazon, and do it myself. Okay, that'll do it for today's vlog. Thank you very much for watching. I've already decided that I am not going to keep these Sony mics, but I will do a video comparing all of these because I think that would be really useful to people to see why would you use one mic over the other and how the different mics sound. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.